in the summer 2024 semester at Georgia, and it's week 2, part 1 of our broadcast and recording together. And in this recording and broadcast, what we're going to be talking about a little bit is kind of what happened last week and what we're going to be doing this week, as well as the assignment 1 that I've released, right? So let's talk about that. So I'm just going to go into full screen here. I'm getting a bit of lag on my machine today for some reason. I'm not sure why, but we'll deal with it. So this is week 1, but actually last week we were week 1. Let me just fix that problem. Wow, I don't know why. It should say week 2. That's my bad. There we go. Make the arrow point to the right week, Tom. There we go. All right. Let's try this again. All right, so last week we did an orientation. We talked about things like version control in some detail. I asked you guys to build an Express, using the Express generator. I asked you guys to build a little web application, very simple, just using Node and Express. Most of you were able to follow instructions and do that. You got your marks. For the people who submitted things like an MKV file, for people who submitted a broken GitHub link, for people who submitted an MP4 file or didn't submit everything that I asked, you get a 0, right? If you submitted everything that I asked, for the most part, unless there was something missing, like you didn't do something, let's say your video volume was low, very low, you might have lost a few, like a portion of your mark. But for the most part, most people got anywhere between 3.5 and 4 out of 4 last time, okay? If you got lower than that, it's because you just didn't do what you're supposed to do, okay? So that's what it was. I'm gonna try every week, just like I did last week. I'm gonna try every week. I can't guarantee it, but I'm gonna try every week. Once you're finished your Sunday, marks will come out on Monday, if I can. I'd like to try and do that, keep that up, and this way you can get feedback all the time. I do add feedback, you know, with alongside your mark, so you don't just get like just a mark. You get some feedback, and we'll try and do that every single time. Now, this week is special because this week we've not only got an in-class exercise that I've released, but also I've also released assignment 1. And assignment 1 is your first full assignment. It's worth 7.5% of your grade, so it's almost worth 2 in-class exercises. I'm not going to tell you that it's that difficult, but there are quite a bit of detail. Now, again, this is an individual assignment, so everyone does this on their own. This is not to be done with somebody else. And let's talk about what this thing is. Again, this is up on Blackboard, so if you actually go to Blackboard, you'll see this assignment. And what I've asked you to do for this one, for assignment 1, is, first of all, it's due week 4. That's Sunday, June 2nd, 2024 at midnight. What you're going to be doing is, this is the first version of your Express API, okay? And I'm only looking for read functionality from your database. You will have a database connection on this as well. So between now and week 4, we're going to be talking about how to build a basic API, how to put it up on render, how to use MongoDB Atlas and all that kind of stuff. And for those people who've done it before, you're going to be fine. If you've never done it before, it's going to be a bit of week over week. There's going to be some stuff we're going to be talking about, and we're going to get you up to speed, right? But this is going to take us right up to week 4. Everything that I'm telling you, you'll be able to do. You know, you will be able to finish this assignment. It's just going to take you right up to that week. So let's talk about what you're going to build, right, with this one. So your Express API should be hosted on a cloud service such as render.com. You can choose another cloud service instead. However, I'm going to show you that render.com is cheap. It's free, first of all, right? And it works, and it's easy for you to deploy. Your live MongoDB database should include a list of your top 20 favorite movies of all time. So one thing you can start thinking about is get your top 20 list of movies, right, that you're going to do. It's a very simple example that we're going to do for this one, okay, for the first thing. Each movie document will include the movie title, studio. These are all the properties that I want you to create. Genre, director, writers, actors, year, release, and so on, okay? And a brief description followed by an MPA, Motion Picture Association film rating, which is, what is it, G? Is it R? What kind of movie is it? A link to the movie poster and the critics rating. You can find this information on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, or Metacritic, right? Or other places. There's other sites that are out there as well, right? You will create a single API endpoint that lists all the movies in your database in JSON format, okay? So that's what it's going to return, just JSON format from the database, okay? And there's no front-end user interface or authentication that's required for this release, right? So the next assignment, we're going to add more to this. We're going to build on this assignment, okay? Every assignment's going to build on this one. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to get it to the point where you can do full CRUD, the second assignment, full CRUD, create, read, update, delete on the MongoDB database. And if we can, I think I've even included authentication. I got to look and see what that is. So I think you're going to get to the point where before your midterm test, you'll have everything you need for your API, for the most part, I believe. Let's see how that goes. The API must be written in TypeScript. And we haven't really talked too much about TypeScript. I really just scratched the surface last week. Some people tried to do TypeScript because I mentioned that I wanted you to try it. Some people did it, some people didn't. Whether you did or didn't, I still gave you the marks, okay? Because I know that we didn't talk a lot about that last week or in class exercise 1. So I gave it to you anyway. But this week we're going to be talking about TypeScript, and it says you must include an appropriate folder structure utilizing the MVC design pattern. In this case, you will not need any views, as your mobile application will represent the front end for your user, right? So right now we don't have a mobile app, right? We will have a mobile app. That's the second part, that we're going to start building a mobile application that's going to consume the API, okay? Right now, just the back end that we're working on. And that's why I told everybody earlier this semester, I said, you know, we're going to probably do examples both in iOS and Android because, you know, the idea here is that your API should be able to go to both platforms. If I have one single database in the back end, then Android or iOS should be able to connect to it, right? Or even web. 3 things. You can connect web, iOS, Android, doesn't matter, right? You can connect to it. Your Express API must include an appropriate package.json listing all the project and developer dependencies. You must use TypeScript and ESM module pattern, so you cannot use JavaScript, right, for this one. I won't allow JavaScript as we're moving away from it, you know, especially when it comes to front-end frameworks like Angular and React and those things. They're all using TypeScript in the workplace, okay? So I want you guys to use that this semester. So no JavaScript. If you just do JavaScript, you won't get your marks. Okay, just letting you know. Your Express API will provide a single endpoint that connects to your MongoDB database hosted on MongoDB Atlas Realm and provides a listing of your favorite movies. That's 25 marks, right? Your Express API should use the Mongoose NPM module to connect to MongoDB Atlas. You must include appropriate model schema for your movie collection. That means you have to create a model class, right? Your Express API should provide a single API endpoint that returns a list of your top 20 movies in JSON formats. These are all the same things that I've said, just I've broken it down so that you can see where the marks are coming from. So again, for this part, which is, it's written in TypeScript and is well structured, 25 marks. It's a single endpoint that connects to Mongo, 25 marks. That's 50%, right? Your Mongo database will include a collection of your top 20 movies. So I'm actually paying you for your content. So this assignment, you're actually going to create your content. You're going to get your movies and put them all in. You're getting paid for this, 25 marks, right, to get proper content. And I need actual content. I don't want any ever in my course, ever lorem ipsum or garbage content or I'm testing, no testing, real content from you guys every single time. Because this way we can really test out, is it going to fit in the page? Is it going to fit in your mobile app? Is it going to look good? All that kind of stuff. So real content is what I'm looking for, guys. Get your top 20 movies. You can start that today. You don't have to wait for me to wait. Go to the thing, get all this, create a database, create an Excel sheet with all your stuff in it. And so this way, when you have your Excel sheet with everything, you're going to be perfect. You're going to get going on this stuff, right? And we're going to do it together. I'm going to do part of this assignment with you, right? So it's not like you're going to be completely in the cold on your own. I'm going to actually build my own top 10 movies, and then we'll try it together, okay? Internal documentation. So I want you to include a comment header for your TypeScript files that includes the file name, student's name, student ID, and date, right? For all your TypeScript files. Ensure you include function comment headers for all your TypeScript functions. So this is internal, and you're going to comment inside your code. That's worth 5 marks. Mandatory stuff. GitHub, mandatory, just like your in-class exercise, right? And it basically says this: share your files on GitHub to demonstrate version control best practices and push your site to a cloud host. This is worth 5 marks. So not just GitHub, but also pushing to something like Render or to whatever other site that you want to use. I recommend Render, and I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, it's not going to be that difficult. You must deploy your site to the cloud server using Git and GitHub. So even though this is Git and GitHub, right? This is just Git, right? This part, deployment, is worth 5 marks. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to demonstrate continuous integration, continuous deployment, right? And the way we do this is we get the site to watch GitHub for changes, and then it updates. And I don't know if you guys have done that before. We're just going to do that again. So if you've done this all before, wonderful. If you haven't, I'm going to show you how to do all this stuff, okay? My way, also my way. So it's going to be a little different. I'm sure you've done it before, or some of you have done it before. Mandatory, create a short video presentation, all right? Now this one, the only difference between this presentation that you've done and the last one that you did for me is I want a single slide, right? One slide. Think about this as a title card, okay? I don't need a big PowerPoint presentation, just one slide, right? And that one slide is going to have an image of you, right? And some of you have shown your face in the videos. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You don't have to show your face in the video, but some of you did, and that's great. You can keep doing that, but I want an image of you, and basically how it's going to go is like this. Hi, my name is Tom, and this is my assignment 1 video, and then it's going to show you assignment 1. You're on the title card, it's going to have your student ID and an image of you, and then you're going to move on. You just have to talk to it. Then you're going to move it. Okay, and for this assignment, here's what you asked me to do, Tom, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, you know, kind of thing. And that's really it for assignment 1. That is due again June 2nd. It's worth 7.5% of your final grade. I've broken down the mark structure, where it's coming from, and you will have a rubric that is on Blackboard. So what I do is when I mark assignments, I use a rubric, and then what'll happen is you'll see where you, like those areas that I created, you'll see the same thing in a rubric, and it'll have, there's usually 4 levels of achievement for me when it comes to rubrics. The way it works is level 0 is you didn't do it, so you get 0, right? Level 1 is you kind of did it, but there's tons of errors, as an example, and that's 50%, right? You did it, there's some errors, but most of it works, 75%. You did it, and it worked great, 100%, right? And so that each of those things are going to add up to your mark. That's how it works. Typically also, if you've lost marks, I'll give you a little bit of feedback that says, you lost marks here, you know, as an example, and this is the reason why, right? But for the most part, you know, as I go through it, it takes time. The assignments take a little bit more time than normal. For your in-class exercises, remember that there's no extensions beyond Sunday. Everything is always due Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. For assignments, because they're a little bigger, if you're late, I will still accept it, but you lose 20% of your grade every day past the first day. So for example, if it's due on Sunday, if you hand it in on Monday, now your maximum marks you can get is 80%, 80 out of 100, right? If you hand it in on Tuesday, maximum mark is 60 out of 100. And if you hand it in on Wednesday, you failed, maximum mark is 40 out of 100, and beyond Wednesday, don't even bother, right? Because you can't do it. I've also mentioned here about external code. You can use some external code. I allow things like Stack Overflow, even ChatGPT. However, no code can be more than 10% of your code base. So if I have 500 lines of code, the maximum amount of code you can use from somewhere else is 50 lines of code. Beyond that, if I see most of it is from somewhere else, you're going to get 0 for the code part, okay? And what I'm asking for is for you to cite your source. If you use some other code from somewhere else, tell me where you got it from, right? And I need you to make sure you you get approval from me if you're using code that we haven't talked about in class to solve your problem, all right? So let's say if you use ChatGPT and we didn't talk about it in class, you need to send me an email or just, kind of connect with me on Discord or whatever and say, is this okay? And this is how much I'm using. And if you don't do that, and if you use it, and if I find out, 0, okay? Just letting you know. So that is your assignment 1. Any questions around assignment 1? This is due again week 4, so that's 2 short weeks from now. That's Sunday, June 2nd, 2024 at midnight, okay? And I have to tell you guys that this is happening at the same time as your in-class exercise 4, most likely. right? So you're going to get two things, in-class exercise 4 and your assignment 1 at the same time. People have asked me, can you move those things? Nope. You're getting two things, right? I want you guys to plan your weeks accordingly. Don't wait till the last minute. This assignment takes time to put together. You need to put together your content. Just start that now. You can start that today. You don't need to do any code for that. Just put together your content. And then we'll be talking about how to put things together. For those of you who already know MongoDB, some of you do, right? You can already put you can set that up. Just don't wait for me. I'm going to go through it. I will talk about it, but you don't have to wait for me. Put all that stuff. Put your model up on the database as soon as you can, if you can. And if you can't and you need my help, I'm going to show you how to do it over the next couple weeks. Okay? That's how we're going to do it. Any questions around the assignment 1 requirements? I think we're going to be okay. Again, remember that we're not going to have any authentication, and all you need to do, you don't need to do full CRUD, just read, which I think is pretty simple from the database. Okay? So I think this is doable for week 4. And this is what I want to talk about first. I'm going to stop recording this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record another recording for the next part. This is just for your assignment, so you know what the requirements are. Okay?